Wasn't planning on making a video this morning, but as I'm on this drive this morning, I'm listening to certain things and everything. It's really imperative to me to kind of video document some of my thoughts while they're still fresh, and just the conversation and the realization of what being black in America, my experience, in my 45 years has been, and how that looks, and how I'm seeing the black American experience. And I say black American exclusively, not Afro-American, but black American, being born, generationally born in America. This is my America as much as anybody else's America, 100%. It's my America. It's not, if not more, my America than most people's America. But I digress for another conversation. But what really is interesting to me is, as I reflect, because I have to actually reflect, my personal experiences, in the job market, and my personal experiences as an adult, and go back. I have to kind of revisit situations that I've had that at the time, I didn't give much credence to, because I didn't feel like I didn't feel like it was because I was black. I was very complacent to what me being black and being a black male, a big black male, really looks like in our America. And the thing that stood out to me, there's a few things that stood out to me. Once I was told, by one of my district supervisors years ago. I look back because I was called to sit downs several occasions, and I always was bewildered by why they felt the need to come at me the way they came at me. And now in retrospect, it makes perfect sense to me, now that I've learned and grown and experienced more what was actually occurring. And the reality of it is the issue was, moreover, if not completely, totally and completely based upon me being, a black man, a bigger black man at that was sincere and serious about how I communicated my viewpoint. I was told once by one of my supervisors, who I love this guy, what I'm saying? And so, I respected his opinion, but he set me down and he was like, sometimes you can come off a little gruff, James, you come off a little gruff, to people when you talk to people. I'm like, really? And apparently this is a problem, because he said, now I'm talking to me about it. Okay. I kind of put that on the back burner. And then, another time, this supervisor, once again, he was actually afraid to talk to me personally, I guess, man to man. So he had to get the director of operations to come and talk to me and convey his viewpoint upon why he didn't want me to be his general manager in the store anymore. And his only reasoning was he didn't want me to be his general manager in the store anymore. But man to man, he felt that he couldn't tell me that. Okay. And then on and on and on and on and on, in just different situations, the time I was told, James, we feel, that we're going to, need to part ways because we don't feel like, that, like you're a good fit here. Okay, now at this point of my work experience, this is years apart. This was at the, okay, enough is enough point for me, and I'm realizing, okay, now that we're using this new term, I'm saying good fit, best fit, good fit, and I've spoken to a few people about it, but my opinion on the term good fit. Well, it's a term that we can use nowadays that that's been very demonized to determine basically kind of a vague way of discriminating without actually being discriminatory or seeming to be. The reality is it's allowable discrimination using that term, because you can use it as so vague. I mean, you can use it in all kinds of terms. I mean, you can use it if you don't like the way somebody looks and they don't fit into the, basically what that means is you don't fit in here. Oh, but it's so vague that legally, I mean, you can't really, I mean, I don't think I've heard of a case where anybody's been sued yet. I'm sure it probably has happened, but I haven't heard of somebody being sued for being told that they weren't a good fit. I'm sure more to come, because the reality of it is this is a term that's being utilized very incorrectly. It's being utilized very incorrectly. It's boiling down to, I don't like you because I don't like you. It's got nothing to do with the job, the work performance, what you bring to the company as a company, from a business standpoint, financially, actually doing your job. But it boils down to whether I like you or not, or whether, little Tony over here likes you or not, or Susie likes you over here, or well, they don't like you, saying both of them don't like you, so, we gotta, let you go because we don't feel like you're a good fit. Okay, now, this right here is a massive issue for me, because when I go back, I'm not just going off of one situation or two situations or three situations or even four situations personally, as I go back and review the, my mental files, but I'm going back over dozens of situations in my life, and then every black person I know has the same amount of situations. Okay, it starts to kind of all paint a picture, and then look at nationally, and then I follow a lot of a lot of people, I get a lot of information, digest a lot of content. So when I put it all together, it paints a real and true and clear vision of this here our America, and how me being black, a black male that speaks however I speak, and maybe even a little louder, or like I was told, gruff. Here's the reality. I am 100 million% me. I can't change me. I can, even if I wanted to, I couldn't change me. This is who God made me to be. And that's the point. God created me to be the me that I am. He created me to be 100% of the me that I am, loud or quiet, because I've even been accused of being too quiet. So go figure that, so I'm either too loud or too quiet. But this is how God created me. And see, once I started actually embracing that and understanding that this here, our country, does not like the me that I am, does not like the me that I am. That's an issue for me, because I can only be the me that I am. I can only be me. So what that means is, and I have, and I love being me, and I'm loving more and more being me. I'm embracing more and more who God created for me to be, which, and like my father told me, he said, you came out of the womb like this. When, and he can tell me, he's one person that can speak to, my entire life entirely from the beginning. And he said, when you were born, you were like this. So that tells me that this is all that I could be. I can only be me. So me being me offends a lot of people. That's a problem for people. That's not a problem for me. Well, it's a problem for me because the fact of the matter is, they, won't employ me, and they ostracize me, and they push me, push me away and get rid of me and so forth, which is okay. Praise God. That's why I've developed my, God birthed, flew by the word into me, to start my own business and everything and grow forward, and create something for His glory, and not for the glory of man, but for God's glory. But the reality is, these are hard lessons that I've had to learn and that have become very, very clear and very, very real. So I just really wanted to kind of put it, have that video document of how imperative it is as a black man in our America, to really start to call this thing to the carpet. And because here's the reality. I'm very particular about the things that come out of my mouth. I'm very particular about the messages that I convey, because first and foremost, my whole life is a representation to glorify God first and foremost. Period. I'm not perfect, far from perfect. Far from perfect. I fall every day. But by the grace of God, I get up. The reality is I'm going to make mistakes, and I make mistakes, and I've made mistakes. But I learn from them. I hold myself accountable, and I keep pushing. And the reality is if anybody has something to say to me, work with me on, partner with me on, talk to me about, I'm very open, but the reality of it is I'm much like my father in the fact that I don't entertain ridiculous conversation. It just is what it is. I don't entertain ridiculous conversation. We can conversate about anything in the world. I love to conversate about a whole myriad of issues and topics and content and creation and creative thing, just things of all facets. But the reality of it is I don't have a limited pattern of thought that invites useless conversation. It's probably a good way of putting it. And so with that being said, and then factor in, being black, and then factor in being a black man, then factor in being a big black man, you kind of hit, and then factor in being a big black man that's a Christian. Oh, that really 100% believes and truly understands that the word of God is the most important thing and leads to my salvation, and my salvation is not to be given away for any reason whatsoever. Oh, all of that? So you kind of heavy with it then, bro. I guess so. I don't know. The reality of it is this is who God has created for me to be. And this is the only me that I can be. And as a black man, we have to, and I'm not going to stop saying it because it's a real thing, because it's imperative that people understand, that as a black man, I'm being limited and enforced, out of the economic process, out of the social process, out of a lot of processes in our America. And that's not only not cool, but it's illegal. It's not only not cool, it's illegal. There are laws on the books. There are constitutional amendments that protect my right as a black man to have the same rights as any white American, as any other American. And my rights have been infringed upon so many times, and still are to this day. But now I know my rights more, and now I know that I'm going to stand on my rights more. And as I grow forward, by the grace of God, I'm going to stand on them more and more and more and more and more, because I can only be the black man that God has created for me to be. I've got you know, children and grandchildren that, and nieces and nephews that look to me and are going to look to me for some form of leadership, and that's the thing, as men, we have to start being the leaders of our families, and quit, cowering back and not standing up for the moral values and the content and the health and well-being of our families. It's not all about, buying a nice pair of shoes. If you can put on the nicest clothes in the world, if the inside of the person is, rotten and corrupt and diseased and uncleansed, it's just a beautiful corpse. So I say all this to say, we have to really, 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 really get about the business of creating environments where, as a black man, as black men, are able to be who we are, who God has created for us to be, and to be able to grow and produce and contribute and be contributed to in our America. So I just had a feeling to say all that real quick. God bless you. Have a great day.